Hey guys, welcome back to Real Housewives Recaps. I am so glad you're here. You are in for a treat today. All right. So, because I'm a horrible person, I I made Stephanie, of course we love Stephanie Sidley of the Sidley Twins. I made her sit down with me and watch the Daters Handbook. I made her watch it. We recapped it. Here's her channel. Definitely check it out. Of course, she has this channel. It's with her twin sister Nancy. It's Twin Talk with the Sidley Twins. Check that out if you haven't already. Make sure you subscribe. They're wonderful. We love them. I'm an honorary triplet. You'll see it on my screen name throughout the recording. Anyway, I made her sit down and watch this Daters Handbook, and it is one of the worst movies I've ever seen in my life, and that's saying something because I can get on board with some cheese and some bad movies. This is not that. This is not fun, but we make it fun. So if you haven't seen it, buckle up. If you have seen it, buckle up. Don't worry. We will be walking you through what's going on and explaining the craziness. But here's why you're going to want to sit through this. And it's going to be a two-parter because we go for over an hour. Here's why you're going to want to sit through. Guys, as we're breaking this movie down, we realize Meghan stole parts of this movie. This was 2016, right before she started dating Hasnoballs. She stole part of this movie to fit to add to her stories that we've heard since she started dating Harold. You'll see what I'm talking about. But some crazy things happen in this movie that we've seen in her life. And I'm going to go ahead and give you a big spoiler alert. It involves a moon bump. There's also a curtsy. There's just so much. Stephanie found some crazy similarities to some date stuff she talks about with Harold of Harold and Fraud. Just so much craziness. I'm excited to get into all this with you. Thank you so much for being here. Let's go. Hey guys, welcome back to Real Housewives Recaps. I am so glad you're here. Today we look a little different because I have a very, very special, not even guest, sister at this point here with me. And I won't even say yet what I made her do because it's pretty sick what I made her do. So first of all, Stephanie, hi, how are you?
Hi, Jen. Thanks for exposing me to this today.
Yeah.
And I think I downed about 2 bottles of rosé to get through this.
My most sincere apology. And I probably give it away in the thumbnail or in the title, but in case I haven't, Stephanie, would you like to tell everybody what I made you watch?
Jen called me the other night and she's
Yeah.
like, "Do you want to do something fun?" And I'm thinking, yeah,
Yeah.
what are we gonna do? And she said, "Why don't we watch Meghan Markle's Hallmark movie, Daters Playbook?" Daters Playbook, and I had not heard about it. She
Oh,
goes,
goodness.
no, we got to watch it. So of course I do that because Jen and I are good friends, and I love
Yes.
her. And
Oh.
yeah, I had to grab some some rosé, and then I had another rosé and another rosé, but I got through it. And I think that's what we're doing today, right, Jen? We're going to review it.
That is, and I owe you a big old bottle of rosé because it was mean what I did to you. It was. Yes, we are here to talk about. It's actually the Daters Handbook. I can't believe you haven't memorized this movie.
I have notes.
Oh, okay.
I can't believe I was able to write anything down as wasted as I was.
Oh my gosh, that's great. But yeah. So I had this horrible idea to watch this movie. I thought we could discuss. We found some real weird stuff. I won't go into it yet, but we found some real weird similarities. And without giving away spoilers, after talking, we're pretty sure that Meghan borrowed from this movie for her real life.
Absolutely.
It is crazy. But before I get into that, I know everybody knows who you are, but just in case, tell everybody about your channel, how much I love it, and all that stuff.
Yeah. The reason why my sister Nancy is not here, she's in LA. She's on vacation with her boyfriend. But we have a great little pop culture royal news channel called Twin Talk. And with the Sidley twins, I'm Stephanie. That one's Nancy over there. And Jen, of course, is our triplet.
Yes.
We love her so much. It's like we all share the same brain. I remember saying this a long time ago. I go, Jen and I share the same brain.
Yes. It's just that you have it most days. Yes.
It needs to be studied. It needs to be
That's right.
studied. But yeah, so if anyone wants to check out our channel, it's Twin Talk with the Sidley Twins.
Great. Yes, we love Nancy and Stephanie for sure. Love Twin Talk. It's great. But yeah, so I was mean and made you watch this movie. So I did a full recap on Patreon where I went actually and watched the movie and paused. But so since I can't play it here, I thought we could just talk through it.
Yeah.
Talk about the craziness, whatever you want to talk about, we're going to talk about it. And guys, if you haven't seen it, don't worry, we're saving you. No, we can explain things and talk through it, but you don't want to watch it. It's horrible.
Yeah. No, it's really bad. It's like, yeah, it's like in Just Like That bad.
Oh,
it's
yes.
like we used to talk about that.
Oh my gosh. You know what? You bring up such an interesting point. Here's my question for you. You're locked in a room. Would you rather have to watch And Just Like That or Daters Handbook?
And Just Like That.
I'm with you, and I hate that show.
I hate it with a passion, but I would if it was up to just those two.
Mm-hmm.
There's just no way. I mean, I mean, this was awful.
It really was.
This was torture.
Mm-hmm.
This was like water torture, or like what's the torture that they do? Waterboarding.
Yes.
Yeah, it's like that. That's what it was like.
That sounds more fun than this.
Exactly. It was awful. But we got through it because that's the kind of friends we are.
That's
we
right.
like to support each other.
At one point I texted Stephanie and said, please tell me you're still speaking to me.
Yeah, she did. And I was nervous too, because I was like, I remember it took me like 3 hours to watch it. I think it was 54 minutes long, but it took me 3-4 hours to watch it. So I kept pausing it and having to drink more. But I didn't want to bug you because we're on different time zones. And I was like, this is awful. I hate you. But then in the morning I forgave you.
Oh, thank God for that. Yeah,
we love each other again.
Oh, thank God, because I cannot with this movie. So general thoughts just coming up on this thing. If somebody hasn't seen it and they're insisting on watching it, what would you tell them besides go get a lobotomy? What would you say?
Don't do it. No.
Don't do it.
I kind of like sometimes. Okay, you ever see like Sharknado?
No, but I'm familiar. I mean,
it.
yeah, absolutely.
There's some bad movies out there that people like to watch because they're so bad.
Yeah.
And Sharknado's one of them. I remember some of my friends and I were watching it, and then it's like, oh, there's a Sharknado part 2. We got to watch that because it's so bad you want to see it.
Absolutely.
And it's sort of like that. So I that's the first thing that comes to mind with the Daters Playbook.
Mm-hmm.
She is a horrible actress.
Oh.
The writing is horrible, and the production quality is horrific. I mean, the first scene of her, what are they in Colorado? Is that where they are?
Yes. Uh-huh.
Yeah. Okay. Colorado.
Yes.
The first scene, she's with her dog and she's looking out at the mountains, and this CGI in the background was so awful. She was clearly not even near Colorado. She was in some studio in LA, but it was like this green screen.
The worst green screen I've ever seen in my life. Horrendous.
The worst.
Yes.
So that's what I got. What'd you get out of it the first?
Yeah, exactly what you're saying. I can get on board with some cheese. I love some rom-coms. Trying to think, like I love what's that? The 27 Dresses, just like cheese ball factors. Like
I thought that was a good movie.
Here for it. Yes. This is not it. This is not it. And I really asked myself, and I'm asking you, so I can't stand Meghan. I feel like you probably feel the same.
Yes.
But even taking that out of the equation, that's not what sucks so bad. She sucks so bad as an actress. It was kind of appalling.
Really bad, really bad. I remember I understand the gist of it. They were trying to do a rom-com. But then at the beginning, when she was on, she's a big executive. She's like an advertising executive. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And she's at work now, and she just hiked with her dog, but now she's at work and she's on her conference call. And the one thing that stood out to me on that first scene was that she was talking to her client and she kept picking up cups like
Oh,
red cups.
yes.
And then when she was trying to get her point across, she would snap.
Yes.
She'd go, and this,
Uh-huh.
and this. It was like, I don't think she's ever taken an acting lesson, ever.
No, I don't think so either.
There's no like Lee Strasberg anywhere.
Yeah.
Like, she just kept snapping at the camera, and that threw me off because I don't want to see that, especially I'm in bed with my dog drinking. It's like, it was like a jump scare to me.
Yeah.
But what'd you think about that? I mean, the first opening scene of her trying to act.
You're exactly so on the same page. It was shockingly bad. I just couldn't quite believe what I was seeing, the green screen, the acting. It was like an alien was pretending to be a human and was getting it a little wrong,
It's so true. That's funny. Yeah. And I just want to say, everybody who's watching, Jen and I have not discussed this yet.
No.
So this is like live to us right now. It's not like, there's no script. So that was really funny.
Oh, thanks. No, and I wanted to talk about it with you so bad, but I was like, no, save it.
That's what I said.
I kept waiting for a text that said, like, you bitch, like, to me, like, for making you watch this.
Yeah, I know. I just ESP'd it.
Yes,
I knew I was feeling.
I had severe like headache that night.
Yeah.
And now I know what now.
Migraine.
Oh my gosh.
But so that scene sucked. And then let's see, what else do we have with she kept snapping her fingers.
And I guess for people who haven't seen it, okay, so we're going to give spoilers on this because we can't not, and please don't watch this movie.
Yeah.
Let's talk just general terms. This movie is about, like you say, it's Cass is her name. There are two love interests, I think, because the second one doesn't show up until about halfway through the movie. It was so bizarre.
That was so weird.
So weird. But
Robert,
Oh,
I'm sorry. No,
please. What were we saying?
He has a boyfriend at the beginning, though. We have to remember that. The sports guy boyfriend who's at the sports bar.
That was so crazy.
So
he was maybe a boyfriend, but it was also like he didn't know her. Like I kept saying, is this her waiter? Because they didn't really explain it until the honey thing.
Well, what happened? Yeah, and then and then she's off to go to a wedding.
Yes.
And then the sports boyfriend, sports guy who's bringing the wings to the table.
Yes.
He's like, I don't go to weddings.
Yeah.
He's like, I don't do that. And I'm thinking to myself, this dude is a waiter at a sports bar and he doesn't go to weddings. First of all, weddings have free food.
Yeah.
They have free drinks.
Right.
There's dancing. Who doesn't like weddings? Like what?
Exactly.
Like, why are you better?
If you think you're going to hook up with a chick, you'd think it would be by taking her to a wedding, right? I mean,
yeah. And then she's having like all these like existential crisis in her head about him not taking her to the wedding, but she ends up going to the wedding. Yeah, she ends up going. But then, what's the fun joke about this? She's at the kids' table. She's at the kids' table.
Never been done before.
Never, ever in the history of writing.
Oh my goodness.
Has that been done before? So what do you think about that?
So I definitely want to get into it. So it's Cass is played by Meghan. Robert and George are the two main love interests, and who we're getting to is Robert. Robert's at this wedding. And I'm just trying to think overview. What else would people need to know if they haven't? I guess that's where we're at. I mean, yeah, the wings
kids
guy,
table. That's where they meet.
Yeah, the kids guy. The wings guy was so quick. It was like I thought he was just the waiter. She was there with her sister and brother-in-law.
No.
And then, yeah, all of a sudden they kind of reveal, oh no, she's been dating this man, but he doesn't know she has a severe honey allergy. And I'm like, well, then how serious are you? Because it's so
sort of
weird.
It's sort of like, do you remember what was the Richard Gere, Julia Roberts, Runaway Bride?
Oh yes.
Okay, remember Runaway Bride? And
she's
like, you don't know what eggs I like?
Yeah.
It was sort of like that. They were just taking rom-com quotes.
Yeah.
And the honey was like, you don't know that I'm allergic to honey?
Exactly.
You know what egg I like? And so of course we have, and then after that at the wedding, we have the meet cute moment.
Yes.
With Robert, so that's.
Yes. About Robert, I do want to point out, I didn't pull the actor's name. It doesn't matter. I'll flash him on screen. Do you know what my thought was? And I did text this to Stephanie. He looks like a combo. I'm not even bullshitting. He looks like a combo of Trevor and Corey,
Yep,
Meghan's exes. It's so weird. Did you
totally.
did you see it too? Yeah.
Totally. When you text me that, it was like, yes.
It's so weird.
It was so weird. And her and then of course, like they're at, because she married Trevor.
Yes.
And he's Jewish, and it was a big Jewish wedding. And then this wedding was a big Jewish wedding. They did the whole, the dance and the Torah and all that stuff. So it was like the same thing.
Yes.
It was the same thing. It's like they were drawing, gosh, it would be interesting to think that the people who produced it and wrote it were not in on the whole Harry thing, trying to get him. I mean, I don't know.
There's so many similarities, and I'm trying to think, okay, help me think timelines. This movie came out in 2016. So then it was probably filmed in 2015, I'm just guessing.
Oh, okay.
So when did she meet Dum Dum? I never remember. I can Google
2014?
Oh, was it? Oh, okay. Well, then let me see when this one was filmed, because this was released January in 2016. Let's see, Daters.
Okay, it says Prince Harry and Meghan met July of 2016.
Oh, so okay. So then this would have been just before that. Let's see, where was Daters Handbook films? It just says it was released in January 2016 as part of a leading up to Valentine's Day.
So it was probably filmed in 2015.
That's what I would think. So it's before that, but it would be, it'd be around the time of Corey, though.
It would.
Weird. That's weird.
Is it weird, or is it completely normal for something Meghan would do?
That is true. Believe, guys, we are just tip of the iceberg. There's a million of these weirdnesses coming up. Don't worry. But yeah, so let's talk about Robert for a minute. Were you attracted to Robert?
Am I attracted?
Yeah. Did you think he was cute?
Not really.
Yeah, same. And what really put me off? I just thought maybe it's just because I'm a parent, but my hackles went up at the wedding. He was way too invested in the kids.
Jenn,
vibe.
Jenn, Jenn. He had more chemistry with that little girl he was dancing with than he did with Meghan. That freaked me out, and I didn't want to bring it up right here. We're trying to be PG-13, but oh my, inappropriate.
No, let's be R. This is nuts. Yeah,
that was crazy.
I told Jay about it. I said, if anybody tried to pick up our Gosling and hold her under the tush or at all, I mean, like, I would punch first and then ask a question. Like, what?
That was so uncomfortable. I was like, and then he's like looking at the little girl, like in the eyes, like adoringly.
It was like, so weird.
Why are you talking about like asking an adult? I'm sorry, that was inappropriate.
I'm so glad you felt that way. Yeah. So again, in case you guys haven't seen it, he's at this wedding at the kids' table, and he's dancing with this little girl at first on the feet, and it's whatever. But then he picks her up. He's like, what did he say? Something like, we got to get closer or something. And I was like, where are her parents? Like, somebody needs to be involved in this.
And why were they even at the kids' table?
Exactly. Yeah.
You're telling me, listen, I've been married. I've been divorced, but I had 250 people at my wedding. I know not to put adults. Dionne Warwick was at my wedding. I didn't put her at the kids' table just because she came by herself. You know what I mean?
Oh my gosh.
Was insane. That's nuts to me. I'm sorry. That's nuts.
And even if you did, I'm guessing she wouldn't pick up a strange child.
No, she wouldn't.
Let's not slow dance. Yeah.
She's not crazy.
And also, can we call up Dionne Warwick and get her on the phone?
Yeah, exactly. What time is it in New York? Right. Oh, yeah.
I love her.
Yeah, what time? Oh, don't worry. We'll get her on Patreon one day on yours.
Oh my gosh.
Everybody subscribe to Jenn's Patreon.
Oh, thank you. But oh my God, I would just fangirl out the whole time and be like, remember when you sang your song?
Yeah, exactly. Remember when you did that thing? Hey, Dionne, remember when you didn't be inappropriate with children?
That's right. But
That's
yeah,
what I would
so
say.
that's all I could think of is get this weirdo away from kids.
Me too.
Um, so yeah, I just wasn't into this. And then there's just so much to it. It was like they were trying too hard to make like, what is it? Like,
Me too.
yeah. And then Meghan just kind of left.
She left. She said goodbye.
Yeah. But then
She's like,
later says something about to him, like, you just left. And it's, no, you left. It's like the writers forgot what they were doing.
Who leaves before the cake's cut? Like, how rude. Seriously, it's like, that's like per person. You have to pay like what, $150 per person? That's not cheap. So why are you leaving? She's just rude. Yeah. She's rude on and off screen.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, so,
total
monster. So that stupid wedding happened.
Oh, it's just incredibly awful. Let's see. Oh, and then right before that, the way we're introduced to the Daters Handbook is her assistant is the one that got married, and it's in her assistant's drawer. I just can't with this. It's like Eat, Pray, Love for Dummies. It's just and like the name of this movie is the Daters Handbook, but it doesn't. They refer back to it and pretend like there's these strict rules, but we really don't know what the rules are. It's more about whatever they feel like at the time. It was a very flimsy principle or
premise.
Idea. Yeah, premise. Thank you for the movie. Well,
we share the same brain. It's okay.
Oh.
But I remember after the wedding scene, and she's with her mom and her sister, and they're kind of talking about it, and, and she's talking about the sports guy waiter, and she's just like at this one moment she has this like great epiphany, and she's like, I pick the wrong guys. Yes. And it's like, hi, Sarah Jessica Parker.
Yes,
like,
exactly.
We've heard this a million times. Right. I picked the wrong guys. So of course she breaks up with that guy. Who that guy is, I don't know.
We don't know
who he is. So
exactly, we don't know. And I do want to point out as well, there is one superb actor in the movie, the one that kept me riveted throughout the movie, and that would be that cute dog.
Oh, yes.
I love that dog.
Duke. You told me it was Duke. I forgot it was Duke. That's
the dog's name is Duke, you guys. Of course it's named Duke. I feel like she did this to try to reel Harry in because he's that stupid.
I know Jen brought that to my attention. I had no clue. Jen's like, the dog's name was Duke.
Yeah.
Like, what?
She said Duke a bunch and then had a bowl with the biggest lettering on a bowl I've ever seen that says Duke on it. And I was like, she's doing that like The Secret, right? She's putting it out there hoping to snare that doofus.
Oh, she's so I think she wrote it. You think she wrote this movie? I think she wrote it.
You know, it wouldn't shock me because there's so many like that. There's so many scenes like that play back into her life.
But but you know what's funny about the Daters Handbook? The whole premise of that is that she's reading it and she's into it and stuff, and she's just like, I picked the wrong guys.
Yes.
And then she goes to the dating seminar.
Yes.
And I found that so funny because it would make sense for her to do that because of the multi-level marketing scam of that. Do you know what I mean? It's like I just feel like that is like her thing.
Yes.
Because Doria's into the multi-level marketing scam, and now she's going to be like, oh, well, we all have to go to this, and this is going to make sense. But the problem is when we go to the Daters Handbook multi-level marketing scam, I didn't feel like I learned anything from that. And I'm a single gal, and I learned nothing.
There is nothing, and that's the whole thing with this book. That was my whole issue. Is there's just absolute nothing. It's over-reliance on the handbook of nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
It really was. It just, it's like I picked the wrong guys. I'm too trusting and stuff. And it's just like, okay, welcome to being a human being. Like,
I'm going to go to this seminar and pay $50 and get nothing out of it. I mean, that's just what I'm going to do. And that's what everyone else should do, everybody.
Yes.
Everyone for $19.95, go get Better Up programs. That's what she's doing right now.
That's right. So should you start a multi-level marketing program for people? I think so.
Sell this jam.
That's
Everybody
right.
buy my jam.
God. Oh, the label's falling off, but it's good product.
Buy it, guys. Just 20, $19.95. Just buy it, and then tell all your friends about it. So,
but then once she discovers the book, again, I go back to it's over reliance on the handbook, and it's completely superficial criteria.
yes.
So it's the superficial qualities over deeper compatibility. Throughout the movie, she wants to be attracted to Robert, but won't let herself because I really can't explain why. The book, I guess.
I don't. In real life, she would be fine, but in this crazy world that she's living in right now with the bad writing, she has to now meet the new guy, the new rich guy that's going to sweep her off her feet. So it's all intertwined somehow. You know what I mean? In real life, if I met a guy at a kid's table at a wedding who's perfect, like Robert, who has a freaking dog, you know what I mean? I'm going to go out with him. Okay. I just
exactly.
So
and that was weird too. That kept happening, and I might again. This movie has made me have a stroke, but I smell burnt toast. But I'm just thinking, like, I can't remember if it was there, and then later they meet up in a dog park. But no matter what, it's like somebody gets a phone call or the least little thing happens, and the other one's just like, okay, I'm out of here.
Yeah, well, what that is? Yeah, they did. They met randomly at a dog park because he wanted to get her number at the wedding, but then she left because she's rude. And didn't stay for cake. And so they met at the dog park, and then their two dogs fell in love.
Yes,
and became best friends. But she was still like, "Whoa, I don't know you."
Yeah, and then it's just it's so weird. And then they just duck out without. To your point, when you just go on a date, that's kind of how you get to know someone, right?
Well, what's interesting about this, Jen, is that he did ask her out on a date at the dog park. And she says yes. Jen, guess what she wears on her date?
Would you like me to pull it for you? Would that help?
Sure. Well, let's first pull up what Harry said that Meghan wore on their first date.
So I did not catch this. I'm giving Stephanie all the credit in the world.
Don't do it.
No, I am, because this was such an awesome catch. Look at this.
So this is of course when they met in 2016. He goes, describing her outfit, Prince Harry writes, she was wearing a black sweater, jeans, heels. I knew nothing about clothes, but I knew she was chic. Now, what is she wearing on the first date with Robert in Daters Playbook? What's that? Oh, look at that, Jen.
Look at that.
A black shirt, it's jeans, and it's heels.
And it's heels.
How random is that? Do we have enough? I think that's with her and Robert.
Yeah.
What are the odds of that, Jen?
What are the odds of that? That's right. Yeah. And then
and there it's clear she's wearing her black top, her jeans. Yeah, there it is again. We're not making this one up, guys.
No. And then do you want to let's see, I think the next one is
there she is again.
Robert.
Yeah, there she is again. It's so natural, isn't it? It's so natural the way she looks.
So natural. But I do want to say this is the best I've ever seen Meghan look in this movie.
Looks great.
Because they did her hair and they styled her and things actually fit.
She looks amazing.
Yeah, I was kind of shocked the whole time. That's what I kept saying on the Patreon is I cannot believe like seeing her in not here she's wearing black, but mostly she wore some colors in this and tailored and her hair was styled. I'm just not used to such a thing.
Yeah.
Let's see.
But she definitely stayed true to the narrative that she wore a black top, jeans, and heels. But then she contradicts it. But we'll get into that. We'll get into that in a bit. But then the most annoying thing too after this date that they had was when she's sitting around the table with her mom and her sister, and they're making cupcakes. Because everyone does that after dates. You know,
totally.
You're going to make your cupcakes. You know, you're going to write stuff in the cupcakes. It doesn't matter where the cupcakes are going. You know, it doesn't matter. We keep giving it to our neighbor, whatever. She's going to make the cupcakes.
That's right.
You know, she's got a whine then about all her previous boyfriends, and she's like, you know, I just don't understand. I just thought that that the sports guy was the one. And when she's saying that, Jen, I swear to God, it reminded me of her in South Africa when she's whining and going,
Yes.
no one ever asked me about me. No one ever
Right.
talks about myself.
Absolutely.
I have to tell you guys, and I'm going to make these cupcakes, okay? That's what it reminded me of.
You are 1,000% right. She was whiny and yeah, absolutely.
Whiny and grabby, and I don't like that. She was grabby and whiny.
Grabby throughout the movie. I was going to talk about that too. Always clawing at food, which sounds so bizarre, but it reminded me of the way she claws at Harold for sure.
Yes, and snappy.
Snappy. Now I have to. Yeah, I'm going to notice the snapping. I didn't.
Oh, it's the first scene. Snap, 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 snap.
Snap, snap, snap. That's funny. Now, okay, so I wrote so many notes. I didn't write which scene it is, but I believe it is that cupcake scene. You guys, are you ready for this? Hold on to your whatever. There is a moon bump scene. And I think
brought this to my attention.
I think because they were getting ready for something for the school, and she kept saying, "Make more cupcakes," and then it was around this scene. I don't know. It may not have been exactly the scene, but so what it is her sister, and can I just say, her sister and her mom, both fully Caucasian in this movie, very, very, very pale, like myself.
Yep.
And there's that. So read into that.
I noticed that right off I didn't want to offend anybody, but Hollywood and Lifetime definitely did not want her to show any kind of African culture.
Sure.
And there's nothing, I mean, listen, I'm being honest here. There's nothing wrong with that. They just didn't want to portray her as an African-American woman. They just didn't want to do it. I don't know if Lifetime didn't think that was sellable. I didn't know if she was courting Harry at that time and she didn't want him to see her that way. The world, there's a lot of things that go on in Meghan's head.
Yes.
They're not rational thoughts.
Right.
So we don't know what was going through her head. It was the when it was shot was so close to when they started dating.
Yes.
No.
So my opinion on this, because same, I'm not in her head. My opinion would be, I believe, we saw the resume or the CV floating around that did list her as Caucasian. So it is my opinion that she probably wasn't speaking up as to, her background at this point. And so
she didn't want anyone to, she didn't want to draw attention to that. She only wanted to draw attention to it after the wedding. And we all know that. We do. She did not invite anyone except her mom to the wedding.
Absolutely.
And even that was still sort of like, no one really cared because I mean, people like you and me are just like, so what if she's
exactly.
But I'm saying, you're right. That it was definitely a mood point to her. She just didn't want that out there. So.
That's what I think as well. But I do believe this is the scene where we get a moon bump. So what's happening is there's something they really don't explain. It has to do with the kids.
I didn't get it until you told me about it.
The sister and the brother-in-law have a child, but we only barely see the kid, and that's fine. I'm afraid that Robert would have been hitting on the kid anyway. So, so there's that. But they keep talking about all the stuff they have to do for school, and one of them is make a costume, so it involves shoving pillows.
Yeah.
And the sister's husband was dressed in the costume. They were shoving pillows up under it. And I screamed and said, moon bump, moon bump.
No, you did.
It was so funny. So we have a moon bump scene pretty close to the beginning. So I was kind of blown away by that. Yep.
She's being very transparent.
Yes.
Isn't she? For once.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, I really think she got a lot of ideas from this movie because there's more weird similarities to come. But
it's just it's too close to when they started dating. It really is in my head. It's too close because we got still the blue dress coming up. It's creeping out.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, we got so much coming up. Absolutely. Yeah, so we met Robert and then we meet George. Now, George didn't show up until halfway through the movie? Something
like halfway through. Yeah. And he's the rich guy and the client, of course.
Yeah.
The handsome client.
Yeah, exactly. So that was so bizarre because George, I just kind of, on Patreon, I paused it and I just looked at him. I said, he looks like he wants to hurt them. in most scenes because he had a very scary look about him.
Yeah, he definitely was not into her. Is that what you're
No,
trying to say?
no.
He didn't seem like he was. He wasn't a great
Maybe.
actor either.
Uh-huh. No, he was not. He freaked me out. He was supposed to be the stable one, the dependable one, but that was so poorly written because he's supposed to be her client, if I remember that correctly.
Right.
But then she, in a future scene, asks him to tell her mother what he does. So he's her client and she doesn't know what he does. You know, I was like, wow, she's really bad at PR if she
Yes.
doesn't know what her client does.
And that's what's so interesting is that the very first scene of her with the cups, you know,
Yes.
she's talking about it. So it doesn't make sense how she doesn't understand it.
Oh, guys, I'm going to go ahead and end this here because we're about halfway through our movie review. And you're going to want to stick around for part 2 because, spoiler alert, you guys, in part 2, she curtsies. She actually does a curtsy. Oh my God. Again, remember, she doesn't know how to curtsy. She does a curtsy. So many lies, so much more to discuss. So many things I think she took from this movie and put into her story with Harry. It's wild. It's wild to review it. I'm having the best time with Stephanie. A huge shout out and thank you to Stephanie for subjecting yourself to this awful movie. Yes, this is a scene coming up as well. Thank you for subjecting yourself to this awful movie. If you haven't already, please do subscribe to the Sidley Twins. Their show is called Twin Talk. They're wonderful. You know, I love them so much. So definitely check them out if you haven't already. I'm sure you're subscribed, but if you haven't, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Guys, I can't wait to bring you part 2. So much more awfulness to cover in that. And I really hope you're enjoying this movie recap. It's something different for us and something fun. And oh, man, I just cannot stress enough. Do not go watch this movie. Thank you for everything. Thank you for being here. I just appreciate you all so much. Let me know your thoughts. Have you seen this movie? Do not go watch it if you have not. And I'll talk to you guys again for part 2. Again, a huge thank you to Stephanie. Their channel is Twin Talk with the Sidley Twins. You can find them here. Make sure you're subscribed. Check out their videos. They always do such a great job, and they have the most fun live streams. So definitely check that out if you have not. I've been on a couple, and I love when I get the chance to jump on. They're so much fun. But guys, thank you for being here. Thank you for putting up with this nonsense, and I can't wait to bring you more. Definitely come back for part 2. All right, I'll talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.